What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Trail Theory Podcast. I'm Brian.
I'm Alex.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Pfeiffer.
Good evening, gentlemen and listeners out there. I hope you guys are having a great day, morning, evening, night. I don't know.
Enjoying some croissants.
For us, it's night. Croissant.
Some late croissant.
Yeah.
We talked about croissants in the last episode. You gotta go back.
You gotta go listen to the old
You
one.
won't know what we're talking about in this one if you haven't seen the first one.
Go
it's
back
like Jaws
and-
1 and 2.
Go back and listen, because at that point, the
not
camera
true.
wasn't rolling. So
Yeah, the camera is rolling
It is.
now.
It is
During
rolling.
that part, though, we will put a beautiful croissant on.
Buttery
Yeah.
croissant.
There we go.
Buttery, flaky crust.
Now everyone's like, well, I'm going to stop this and go listen to the other one.
That's okay, but
Go
then just
listen to that one and then come back.
and then come
Yeah,
back.
it'll make more sense if you do that.
Tonight we are going to discuss and share, our favorite social media content creators, influencers, media, whether it's like on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, anything like that. Stuff that inspires us, stuff that gives us kind of a taste of the outdoors.
Jolt to go
on our
out
phone,
and jolt to go
you
into
know?
something.
Yeah, jolt. I like that.
Yeah.
Because
That's compelling.
yeah, it's interesting because there's obviously like so much content out there for for outdoors, for backpacking, things like that.
The Trail Theory being one of them.
Trail Theory is one of them.
My favorite's Trail Theory.
My favorite's
At
Trail
Trail
Theory.
Theory.
I
on
love
Instagram.
Trail Theory too. It's great.
Make sure you
Yeah.
subscribe. Give us 5 stars. Make
Yes,
sure you
please.
tell your
Yeah,
friends.
I think but I do think it's worth noting that like if you are listening and if hitting the subscribe button would be really helpful.
It'd be
yeah,
really
no,
awesome.
it definitely helps.
We'd like
Leaving
that.
comments,
Or
shoot us
watching.
an email, let us know if you
And
don't know.
to that end, since we're going to be talking about it, really interested, leave a comment or send us a message or something. What is your favorite outdoor-related social media account that you follow and can't get enough of? Because we would love to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What's the account that you can't hit follow fast enough?
Other than us, of course.
Yeah,
Yes, of
well,
course.
you're already following us. So.
Yeah, obviously.
And you just subscribed.
So there is,
Perfect.
and we were talking a little bit before going on, but there's just so much. Like, especially if you're into
Which is
outdoors and
great.
into it. Oh, it's amazing. And I don't know if I know in 2020 with COVID and stuff, there was like the big boom and everything. Maybe it was aligned to that. That was also kind of around the same time we were really getting into
pre-COVID. but
we were already
in that sphere.
We had
Yeah,
been there
hiking,
for a
but-
little bit, but yeah.
Yes.
And so maybe that's a line, but I just know it's been over the last several years, it's been insane how much content there is around backpacking, outdoors, nature, just kind of like that whole world.
Yeah, and we live in this
exploded.
world right now where like being a filmmaker or
yeah, man.
being a photographer, like the access that
Golden
people have.
era.
I mean, even just iPhones, right? I mean, think
Yeah.
about I looked at some old iPhone pictures I have, like from like early iPhones.
Yeah.
And like it's okay. Now it's just everybody
Yeah.
has a great camera in their pocket.
Yes.
And so if you go out to these trails or whatever, everybody can share it. And then you can say, hey, where the hell's that? I've never seen that. I want to go do that.
I mean,
And-
what the last episode, which everyone should have gone back already and watched, and then
They
come
already
back.
did, so they know.
They'll know. But I mean, we talked about all trails and like the pictures on all trails. You can live through like an entire trail and tour
Yeah.
basically what it's going to
Yeah.
be.
and it'll show you on the timeline
And
the
picture-
photos as
exactly.
they go.
And the
That's
pictures-
crazy.
the
You can
pictures are
literally just like
phenomenal.
slide your finger over the trail,
nuts.
like the
Right.
elevation, and it has like picture points, and you can see like
but,
what people have
but
shared.
the pictures are phenomenal, and it's just pictures that people took on their phone when they were out. Those aren't professional photographers going out and actually like, oh, I'm going to do this shot for this location so
right,
people can see.
right.
It's like, no, that's just crowdsourced, photos.
But
And they're amazing.
When I go and do that, it inspires me to
Yeah.
want to go to these places or want to go outside. Or maybe I think the thing that I love about going to some of my favorite social media platforms to look at some accounts that I really love and follow is that if I'm like in a funk or like I'm in a little bit of a lull where I'm just like, I'm just gonna like sit inside and just watch TV for a little bit, or I'll just goof around on my phone. But like if I see a picture from one of those people pop up and it's like, I do want to go outside, maybe I will go out for a run, and maybe I will go out to CVNP and do a little hike, or maybe this weekend we will go out and do a hike with our family. And so it's just
it's a motivator.
it triggers me in order to go and do the thing that I love to do, and kind of gets you or me out of a funk, you know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow what you said up with a very simple account that everyone should be following, okay? Because there's obviously like a lot of different ones with different influencers and all this kind of stuff, but one of the weirdest one that inspires me the most is just following the National Park Service. It's
Yes.
like,
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Not only is it incredibly informative and amazing pictures, they're also funny.
They're so funny, dude.
They're like pretty tongue in cheek with a lot of the stuff.
Dude,
and
that happened like what, a year ago maybe, where they kind of they like we gotta meet the person that's running that,
I
because
think
they are
what
so
happened-
clever, dude.
They are absolutely clever.
So-
and I agree.
Yeah, I think that there are a handful of like organizations or businesses that have taken this route on social media of being a little like
Tongue in
cheeky.
cheeky. Yeah.
Well, I mean, think of like the Wendy's and McDonald's, like the
Yes,
social media
right.
battles.
Yeah.
And stuff.
There's
It's like,
certainly
so
a way to show some leg and have some
now
personality.
some of it gets absolutely ridiculed online because it's like, oh, you're trying too hard, you look stupid, why are you trying to like, okay,
Those
so
are haters.
this just
Get
happened.
off.
Don't
no,
hate
no,
on a
no,
good
no,
time,
not
though,
for
yeah.
national parks, for other businesses.
Oh,
No, no, no.
yeah,
The national
yeah.
parks, they are brilliant. Plus it's a national park, and they're
Right, no
trying
one's
to
gonna-
sell you.
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Right. They're not using our government-funded dollars to like
exactly.
overdo
I thought you were
it.
talking
Yeah.
about people are like getting on the national
No,
parks.
like-
Like you're trying too hard.
Oh,
there's like-
I'm
dude.
confident that exists.
Like there's a
though.
couple
Yeah.
People are
brands out
trashing
there.
on it, too.
There's a couple
sure.
brands out there
There's
that
always
have
haters.
like golden social media. Like I don't know if you've ever seen Moon Pie's Twitter account. The thing Moon
Oh,
Pies.
like the
It's-
the product.
yeah,
Moon Pie?
they're amazing, right? But then there's some brands that just take it too far. Actually, there was a tweet earlier this week that TSA tweeted something
Oh,
out
man.
that was like, by the way, peanut butter is a liquid. Because like people were like arguing, is peanut butter a liquid or a solid? And because you can only have like 8 ounces of liquid,
Yeah.
they were trying to be funny and be like, oh, and then it's just the comments were ripping them apart because they're like, shouldn't you worry more about like terrorists getting on
Bombs
planes than
and
about
stuff,
peanut butter being
yeah.
a liquid? Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's where social media with an organization like that goes wrong.
Yeah.
But no, the National Park Service, and it's not all just yucking it up. Like,
No.
they,
Yeah. They have a lot
just
of
throw a
informative
couple-
stuff. They have
super
trail
informative.
updates. Yeah.
They'll even do like if a park has like a missing person,
Yeah.
they'll like
Yep.
shoot
Yes.
that shit
Yeah.
out. But so that is like at the base is the probably best
Yeah.
follow that you can do.
And I
you know,
think,
just really informative and beautiful.
An extension of that,
photography.
like your local, like Summit County Metro, and so there's national
All
parks,
the trail systems.
But if your
typically
local
are-
systems and stuff have their own, which is really cool because then you can see what's happening like super local to you.
Yep.
But yeah, it's. I mean, who would have thought? You know, we were just talking about this before. Of like our generation grew up through before social media, before internet, before all this other stuff. So who would have thought that the National Park Service would have had a far-reaching
Social media outlet.
social media outlet where they could reach millions of people at the in a blink of an eye.
In a blink of an eye.
I mean, they
So on a total on a,
there's
sh- on a
6
short
million followers for
that's
them.
insane.
How many?
Is that
6
just the
million.
national park in
That's
general?
just the National Park
Yeah.
Service in
That's
general.
awesome.
6
and all
million.
all the individual parks have their own as well.
Yeah, right.
They're great
Yeah.
follows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
they're
absolutely great follows. For 3 seconds, I just have to say this because you started talking about being cheeky on the internet.
Yeah.
And this will be relevant to us because it's just us and, well, at least relevant to me.
I can't wait to hear this.
awesome.
So the official, has anyone heard about KFC's Twitter account? I think you have.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So the official Kentucky Fried Chicken Twitter account follows 11 people, including 5 Spice Girls and 6 men named Herb. 11 herbs and spices. This is a reference to the 11 herbs and spices in Colonel
my
Sanders'
God,
fried
dude.
chicken recipe. In October 2017,
Damn their marketing
Twitter
team.
user Mike Edgett discovered the secret and tweeted it. KFC rewarded Edgett with a giant portrait of himself on Colonel Sanders' shoulders. 52 gift cards and a letter from the Colonel himself.
That's so amazing.
That is, if you want to talk about like a master class in social media, that to me, when I remember hearing that and I screamed laughing.
That is amazing.
That's awesome.
I love that.
But
so
back
much.
to the national parks. So interestingly enough, this is a great topic, and I feel like I follow too many people sometimes, but it's like, hey, if it inspires me, whatever. The national parks, I feel like they leaned in a couple years ago, as you were saying, and to me, it was like they finally like gave the keys to the interns, and they were like, hey, just go make some weird shit that like is gonna explode on the internet. And I think so much of, and I think as a designer and person who makes social media stuff, sometimes I feel like I have a tendency to make it like precious, and I think right now some of it's just so flashy. Yeah. So I think when the National Park Services opened the door to being, I guess, open to those kinds of things, that's when it changed.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
And it's
without
cool.
being,
It's cool
without
stuff.
being
cringe.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, listen.
Yeah. There's a way to do it.
This
for sure.
this one's hilarious. It's first rule of Hydrate Club: stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Second rule of Hydrate Club: tell everyone you know about Hydrate Club. Third rule: just a minute, I need a bathroom break.
Yeah. Touche.
Like,
it's good
all right,
stuff.
yeah. Obviously,
I'm
there's all the pictures of people like just in the desert and stuff like that too.
Yeah, and crazy informative. So big
One
shout
person
out.
spraying one of the visitors with a hose in the face. Like, it's just funny, dude.
Yeah,
Love
good
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
Good
I
stuff.
think it
I
just
like
goes
your,
to show like the personalities that can be behind the
Yeah.
parks too. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's this.
When you think a ranger or something
Yeah,
like that,
it's
you
like
think
it's
of like
authority,
someone,
and
yeah.
they're gonna yell at you.
Right.
I mean, they do have their goals and they have their
Of
things
course.
they need to watch out
Well,
for. But
speaking of national parks, and we've talked about this on the pod before, but one of the greatest accounts is Toron.
I was
Oh,
going
yeah.
to
of
talk
national
about it,
parks because
yes,
And,
not only
uh,
inspiring but also
it's
Informative in another way.
frustrating, funny, informative, good warning.
I think
a
it's
good
a little,
Toron
it's a
should
little
do.
bit of everything.
It's a little bit of everything.
Toron
Yeah.
stands for like a tourist moron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At a national park, and a lot of these people, it's either like there's a lot of like people
It's
like
recording.
I'm
Relax.
just making sure.
we're scared about the about the camera.
I see the red line. It's over there.
A lot of it is like people who are like walking in places they shouldn't be, like in hot springs, like getting f***ing burnt in their
Right.
hands because they were in a hot spring, approaching a bison that you should get nowhere close to, stay in your cars,
Putting your kid on a bison.
The
Oh my
animal
God.
ones for me, those
Those
are the
are
ones
so
that make
hard.
me the
oh
most
my god,
uncomfortable.
it's
Cringe,
so crazy,
dude.
and it's unfortunate. It's kind of like it's unfortunate because I feel like the parks do a really good job with telling you the rules. But the parks are so popular that just some people just
Well, and they're too
Abuse.
big.
They have
They're
to be
just-
the main character.
They're too big.
man.
There's no way that they're enforcement of it. It's got to be honor
be
system
everywhere.
of like just
Right.
don't
Yeah,
be an
yeah,
idiot.
yeah.
So that's why that channel is so like brilliant. Is just it's just putting on display stuff that any reasonable person would be like, don't do that.
Yeah.
And it's like this stuff happens. So
Yeah.
it can be a warning sign for people and other stuff. But on the flip side of that, what I always worry is like the incentivization of that in some cases.
It
It's
kind
like,
of
oh, it's really
celebrates
popular.
that. I agree.
So
think
like,
so?
oh, I should
Yeah.
go be like.
I think for some people,
most people not, but
Yeah,
it does
yeah.
incentivize it.
It's
a
like the
little bit.
ridiculousness
Yeah.
Deer Deck show where it's like, dude,
Yeah.
we do not accept submissions, so don't even try.
yeah, it's like when Jackass was popular.
Yeah,
They
that's
were
what
like,
I'm saying,
"Don't
same
try
thing.
this at home." It's like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
everybody was trying this shit.
but
at home. Like,
I would maybe say
why
that
even put the line?
I would maybe agree with you if it was like user submitted videos,
Right.
but these are all like people watching people
That's
break
true.
rules,
That's
right?
true.
Yeah.
It's bystanders just happen to record something.
So,
It's crazy though. I
It
like
is
to
wild.
I like to be optimistic on it. It's like, oh no, like no one's gonna do that. But then, I mean, I've seen the videos.
Yeah,
People do it.
There's some that are just completely unexplainable. Like, and I will try. I think we even got
The bear one when the dude
bear
was
one.
running.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
that was
I
one
was
that we got
trying
in
We
to
talked at
depth on.
length
right.
on
I was
that.
trying to give benefit of the doubt. I'm like, all right, before
That was an
record
article
happened,
episode, wasn't it? That
It
we
was.
talked
I think it
about?
was, right.
I think I brought that.
Episode
yeah.
42. I
can't
I
remember
don't
which
know.
one it was.
I'm kidding.
So some of
clowning.
I've seen. Even like I typically try and say, okay, what possible scenario could explain
well,
that
yeah,
in a way
try
that's
and
reasonable?
like frame yourself in
Right.
the mind. Yeah,
And some
Yeah,
of
there are
them,
none.
there's nothing you can do.
No.
It's just like,
No.
dude, you were
no.
beyond stupid.
Yeah.
Like there's no
Like
explanation.
I saw one the other day of Home Dog dipping his fingers in the pools in Yellowstone.
Yeah, dude, that was one of the ones I saw too.
It's like,
recently.
come on, clown! Like literally, there's a sign on the ground right there, man.
Yeah.
like
Don't touch. It's hot.
It is hot. Like, dude, you can just put your hand over it, and you'll know it's hot.
You ever seen Dante's Peak?
I love that movie, dude.
I just watched it the other night.
It's so good.
I have
watched it
no
again.
idea what that is.
Dude, Pierce Brosnan.
Brosnan.
The opening of it's Dante's Peak. It's a volcano, and blows up. Pierce Brosnan comes in, saves the day.
Are you talking about 007?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that one.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But no, like this teenage couple goes into a hot spring, and they're it's like fooling
But
around
there's
or
no
whatever.
sign that
There's
says
no
don't
sign,
go in.
But the volcano's active, so it heats up the water, and they burn.
Whammo.
And they just
Yeah.
melt into the water or whatever.
they boil.
Yeah.
Listen, man, if there's not a sign that like
Were they getting
invites
steamy
you to
before
do
they-
it,
Yeah.
Whoa, they were steamy already, and
They
then
were
they got
steamy
way
and then
more
they got
steamy.
melted.
Yeah.
Yep.
man.
1997, Dante's
Touch an
Peak.
hour.
97.
Yeah, buddy.
So
good.
You watched that? Wait, you rewatched that recently?
Yeah, like a week ago.
I watched it like
It
a
was
month
on-
ago.
It was on Prime. It was on Prime. I was like, yeah,
Man, that's not
good.
that's not a cheesy, funny movie. I didn't know
I
you watched
love-
other movies.
It's an action movie. I love action movies.
Yeah.
I don't like super serious movies.
I know.
Dante's
Unless they're
Peak's a good movie.
documentaries about outdoors and backpacking and climbing and
The
mountaineering.
things we're talking about now.
The things
we're
Like,
talking
we should
about
start
now.
a podcast.
How about
Dante-
that?
We get to start a podcast about old 90s movies
So-
that are terrible but
I would
amazing.
do that.
I don't
So
know.
good. It's not terrible. Don't
a great
even,
movie.
don't
I've
even-
never
great
seen that movie. I won't see it. Thanks
will.
for
We're
telling
gonna
me
do
about
we're
it.
gonna do a
I'm
movie
good. I'm
night.
good now.
We're gonna do a movie night.
Oh, so and this has never come up, but now that I'm thinking about the little water trickle guy in Yellowstone, I think it was Yellowstone. Maybe it was Yosemite. There's a mineral water spring in one of the parks that you can drink water from. Like its sign says, like,
believe that.
Like, go
people
ahead.
used to drink this water, yada yada yada, and it's kind of like bubbly water, and it was cool as hell.
That's crazy.
I can't remember where it was, but at any rate, I just am thinking of like if there's not a sign that says you can do this or like you
Probably,
shouldn't
yeah.
do this, like
Yeah, right.
there is some gray area.
Yeah.
But
Well, and that's what's beautiful
some of it's
about
obvious.
That's what's beautiful about like just nature in general. Any national park or wilderness or whatever is that the default rule is leave no trace.
Yeah.
Like
Don't-
you should,
don't
you
go
should
messing
always
with it.
do that.
True.
And then
Sure.
so basically always do that. And if there's a sign that says you could do more, go for it.
If it invites
If
you.
everybody just lived by that
Or
rule,
less.
yeah,
Yeah.
then right or less. But
yeah, imagine if
Torons-
everybody followed Leave No Trace.
Right.
Imagine.
there'd be no Torons.
Could you imagine? I
There'd be no
can't.
Torons channel. It
Yeah,
wouldn't-
right.
it
That
wouldn't
account
exist.
wouldn't exist. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
the internet would be so boring.
So do you guys have some names and accounts you want to throw out?
What do you got?
What do you got, guys?
throw
I'm
these
going
headphones
to
off my
admit up front, I'm terrible at this. I can describe some like channels that I see all the time and I really like. I'm not going to be able to tell you the names of them.
Huh.
But
Well,
I'll describe them until the cows come home.
I'm glad the users will have nobody to go.
Do you have like an
research.
account? You can look up who you follow.
I
and-
tried. There's one I'm thinking of specifically. Maybe you guys can help me. But I tried, like literally before tonight, I tried looking it up and I can't find it. But it's all I see it every day, and then the time I try to actually go look for it, I
Describe
can't find
it.
it. So
Great, yeah. Let's
it's a
see
guy.
if we can. What's the thing where the guy finds out where he's at in the world by the Google map?
Yeah,
like,
GeoGuessr.
Tell us,
GeoGuessr?
yeah, tell us the Instagram
I'll
account.
get
yeah.
I'll get us
I
there
bet I
by
could guess it
geoguessing.
in
So
like
there's a guy.
10
He
seconds.
goes to Alaska all the time. Sometimes he brings his kid,
Okay.
and he basically like bushcrafts in Alaska. He'll build an igloo.
I'm out.
And he'll
Yeah, no idea.
and
I had no
he'll
idea.
make these awesome meals. He like makes bread in Alaska in an igloo, and he lives.
I
out
love
there.
that, but I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
wouldn't it
follow
be
him
great?
on
Wouldn't it be
Instagram.
great
Yeah.
to know at this
I'll-
guy? Well,
I'll-
tomorrow when you see him, let
Right,
us know.
exactly. It's gonna pop up,
We'll all
especially
have
now. All of our
So
phones.
there's this guy.
Yeah.
all of
Who
our phones.
backpacks and he does videos.
Right.
So that sounds awesome.
All of our phones are listening right now. It's gonna show up as soon as I pull my phone out.
Free Jimmy John. Free Jimmy John. Free Jimmy John.
But
Gotta do that. Do
I
like
will.
Jersey Mikes, free Jersey Mikes,
Free Raising
Jersey
Canes.
Mike's is
Free
better,
Raising
yeah.
Canes. All of the above. Free things.
I will find it. We'll try to add it in later. But there is it's a cool his thing. He goes on like these lengthy trips in Alaska, and the really cool. I like that he brings his son along with him sometimes, and he'll do these short form videos. But they're like in an igloo that they built, and they have it all set up, and they're sleeping, and they've got. Sometimes he'll do tent camping, and he has like a furnace set up in it, so it's the hot tent that we've looked at. And just does all these cool, just living in the wild things. Like it's not him out conquering summits and doing these crazy feats and everything. It's just him living out in conditions that are fucking brutal.
Yeah.
But doing it in like a really smart, comfortable way, and he's loving every minute of it. And he's like, it's -20, but here's all the stuff he's doing that, makes it tolerable and it's
You're
just
smiling
bushcraft.
like a schoolgirl over there. Did you find it?
I bet you.
No.
Oh, that'd be awesome if he did.
But I was looking through who he follows, and it was just making me happy. There are a lot of very muscular men.
You're looking through who I follow?
Yeah, but I know what it is because you lift weights and stuff like that. So I
God.
guess it's just funny. It's funny.
Oh my god!
Yeah, cuts of beef.
You gave
a lot of
me
users with beef in the
Yeah, a
name.
lot of
you
beef.
gave me the next 4 hours of my life. Thank you.
Just
so
looking
much.
through.
Just looking through your
Gosh,
stuff.
I gotta be careful now.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's public, buddy.
Yeah. Well, now I know that.
Well, not if he has a private account.
Is that you
I think
can't
you
see
can-
any, you can't
Well,
see anyone
I
that
mean,
you
I
follow.
follow.
He follows
Right,
you,
right,
so,
right. He
yeah.
allowed me. He
Right.
lifted.
He
I
granted
let-
the access.
I
let
pulled
him-
the curtain
Let's see.
back for me.
I let him behind the curtain.
Let's see here.
Brian, do you have any that you're thinking of? Some influencers, some people you follow that you like?
I have a bunch of people that I know Alex and I both watch and stuff like that. I'll let him take that one. But I think the
Yeah,
thing
it's
that
bad,
the
man.
thing that I really love doing is I follow Jimmy Chin. I follow Renan Ozturk. Like those dudes, obviously
The hardcore dudes,
They're
I would say.
pros.
They're awesome.
right? Like, but those guys give me so much inspiration to go out and do things. And man, especially like lately with Renan too. He's been doing a lot of stuff on YouTube with Sony on shooting some of these expeditions and how he does things and the gear they take, and like that stuff is so interesting to me. The more and more I get into like kind of
Who you talking about the gear? Renan?
Renan, yeah.
I was gonna say my man Jimmy Chin's a Canon man, I believe.
Yeah, he's a Canon guy. But then on the other spin of it,
Represent.
like Masters. I don't know if you guys Masters class.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
I've heard
So
of those,
I've
yeah.
got a
yeah.
subscription to that too. And Jimmy has a Masters class on like how
Adventure
he goes out
photography.
adventure
Yeah,
photography,
yeah. It's
and
cool.
that is amazing too. So
That's
like
dope.
I've watched Jimmy's thing on Masterclass like I don't know 10 times all the way through,
Yeah.
and that stuff just it gets me like jonesing to go out and like go on a trip. And so like a lot of that stuff from those dudes, and like obviously their images are incredible, their videos are incredible, and then I think the thing that I like the most about those people is that they have short form stuff. So
Yeah.
I can go to their Instagram account and I can look
Yeah.
up a photo, or I can look up a quick 30-second video. But then I could go and watch an entire documentary
Right.
that's an hour and a half long.
Yeah, I mean that's their profession. It's not just like hobbyist.
Right. So
Yeah.
that part of it's really, really cool. And then, we have, the thing on the flip side where it's like we can go to YouTube and we can talk about like
So many.
Cody and Victoria
Yeah.
Yeah.
and their YouTube channel and like watch a 30-minute video of them going out and exploring the US.
So
and going
who are
all
they?
over
What do
the
they do?
place.
So
You watch a ton of their stuff too.
I think I was actually looking the other day. YouTube is interesting. I'll say that. I'll start there because there are some things on there that I didn't think, subscribing to it or whatever, but I do dig it. And the further I get into the YouTube hole and like following certain people's stories and that kind of thing, the more fascinated I am by it. Because I just think they can tell a narrative over a longer, like, you can dip into their stories even if they're 15 minutes at a time, which I think is very cool. So Cody and Victoria, they're a couple,
Husband and wife.
Yeah, a husband and wife, and the husband. So Cody is he's just like a videographer, and I think they kind of just got their start. They were just adventure people that were kind of doing the van life thing, and they rock climb a lot. And he's just, I think, started out like he was able to do his filmmaking, show off some of his like toning to images and such, and they do epic stuff. I think they actually say that, like, "Oh, we're out here doing epic stuff," or something. Something.
Yeah, I mean,
but-
they're adventurers. This is like their like little title, their subtitle thing on their YouTube channel is Adventures, Inspiration, and Guidance. And
Yeah.
like that's great. I mean, they do a fantastic job at images.
I
and
sometimes
the
wish their
quality's-
packs for backpacking were a little bit lighter. If they ever find us, I mean, we're happy to have the conversation.
They're climbing
They
those.
just
So
wing
they
those
are
tips.
they have some
packs.
heavy, but
Dude,
a lot of
they're
times
climbing
they're
equipment, though,
They're
right?
they're
Tons of
typically
climbing
carrying
equipment.
climbing equipment.
Yeah.
But there's other things where I'm like, guys, we can get lighter on that. We're just gram weenies at this point. So
Cody,
it's
Victoria,
fine.
hit us up. Let us know.
Yeah.
We'll
no,
we'll have
they're awesome. Yeah.
conversations.
If you like, and I think this is for me, I'm kind of like, I was going to ask this question and maybe now's a good time, but what, if you see an account, what makes you hit follow? Social media, YouTube, any of those things. And
It's different on different platforms. I'll tell you that much. Because when I go to YouTube, I'm not looking for a 15-second short or whatever. I don't do the shorts on YouTube.
I don't do the shorts on YouTube either.
same. I see them. I've clicked
I see
them, but
yeah. And if I see one that looks interesting, it's usually to lead me to whoever did it. So maybe I
Yeah,
can look at
yeah.
their
Yeah.
longer form stuff. But I'm looking for like the not long form necessarily, but the middle, like
bite size.
the anywhere from 5 or 6 minutes to like less than 20.
Oh, really?
And-
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm like the exact opposite.
Oh, yeah?
If they've got 15 minutes to like an hour, I'll watch that shit.
Yeah, I mean, an
Because
hour's,
like,
yeah.
I have
Because
before,
I,
for sure.
At
But I like
home-
like what Alex was saying is telling a story over a series of like
Yeah.
shorter form that you can kind of
I
digest
don't need it
easy
all
and
at
move on to
once.
the next. Yeah.
But
And so when I'm looking on YouTube, it's way different where I'll see something. It's like, I want to see that continuity and the story and kind of, I'm more committed to the channel overall. Whereas like short form stuff on Instagram, for instance, or on like TikTok or whatever you're just scrolling through reels. It's interesting for a second. And I might
flashy.
really
Right.
appreciate it. I might really like it, and I might never hit follow because it's like it's probably followed up by the algorithm is just feeding me whatever,
Right.
sure,
Sure.
that type of
Yeah.
stuff. So it's
Makes
got to be really YouTube's a bit deeper. Like I'm committing a
I
bit more.
definitely
And
agree about
Instagram is like if you can really, make me laugh or like cause a true reaction.
so beef, you
I'll
want to laugh.
probably-
You want to laugh. You want to a gut punch.
or I'm not usually one like if it's real I don't want to call it sappy, but like the real meditative, like calm, where it's just like music and like some text or whatever. Those are cool. I'm not gonna like. buy
I like
into
a
that.
story.
Yeah.
I
like-
need something substantive.
I like.
yeah.
I will follow people that have a great story to tell, that have great images,
Yeah.
that have great quality. I will follow those people 100%. And if you can get attached to the character of them,
Yeah.
and
if you
who
can
they
fall
are,
into the personality and enjoy
Like
that,
the-
it
the-
makes it deeper.
Because I think one of the things that I love about that is like you kind of go, oh yeah, I could be friends with those people. Like,
There's a
I could get to know those
relatability to it.
people,
Right. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And I think we've joked about it before, but the account where he's just peeing in really beautiful places. What's
Oh,
that?
yeah. What is it?
I have
I forget
issues.
what it's called.
So I used to follow this account. It was literally like scenic pisses.
Yeah, that was it. See,
in fact, I mentioned it on this podcast. I was like, "This is
You
fun."
did.
I follow this
It's-
account. I stopped following that account.
Yeah?
I think it's disrespectful.
yeah.
I think it's shitty.
Yeah, I kind of maybe, but I like that's what got me on it was
There
like
are
it's
certain
it's
places
beautiful.
that I've seen him that it's not
It's
even
funny.
him. They're submitted,
Right,
right?
they're
Right.
submitted,
Yeah.
And I've seen some that they've posted that I've been like, no one should be pissing right there. I don't care if anyone's around. There was just
Cross the
There were
line.
just a couple posts that they did that turned me off. Where I was like, because at first I was like, this is dope.
Yeah.
It's like you're on the side of a mountain. You're
I know
You see the
the
stream?
account. I may follow it, but
It was the
I haven't
combination-
felt offended by any yet, but now I might go look.
It was the combination
Yeah.
of the ones I've seen so far where it was like it's again the images were beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's like it's funny. It's just it's
Yeah.
humorous
well,
to
it's
me. It
funny.
makes me laugh.
When I follow somebody, on like Instagram on that kind of like platform, I'm looking for one of two things. So it needs to either be like crazy, gorgeous, clean, simple, beautiful, like just. I don't want anything else. I don't want any fluff. I don't want anything like that. I just want something that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Or I want it to be funny.
Yeah.
I want to laugh. So like
humor is a big piece.
So like I'll give you two sides of that. So there's this one account, and honestly, I think they only have like 4,000 followers, but it's called.
I had like a weird that's just a weird feeling.
Yeah, right.
Ghost over here.
I don't know. Apparently,
Maybe we caught something on camera.
Yeah,
Check the tape.
I think it was just the chair wiggled from my. I don't know. It was very calming. It was like I felt like my cat was pawing at me. I'm like,
What the shit?
very weird.
We're here
not.
like every other week, and I haven't seen your cat in like 9 years.
That's true. Yeah, it's better that way.
This one's called Minimal Park Service, and all it is these crazy clean, straight lines, beautiful pictures of different national parks. And again, there's like 4,000 followers. It's not a big account, but it's like it's just so beautiful. It's clean and great, right? The other side of that is that we all know this guy. His name is Matt Lyons.
Oh yeah, the jokey dude.
So he's the dude that does all
my name is Featherweight or whatever.
He does all the stereotypes for outdoor people.
Oh,
He's like, the guy who just got into trail running, or the guy who has been a through hiker for the PCT, and he does all the, man, my name's Featherlight. I've got this Patagonia.
He is
hat
hilarious.
And
he's very funny.
He's funny, and I
he's
love
worth
it
a follow.
He doesn't pull any punches. And he like leans into the stereotypes, and he's
clever. It's clever.
And he's kind of dead on every time.
And he is one of those guys. So he knows it, right?
Yeah,
he's not
totally.
making. He's that guy. He's the outdoor guy that he's making fun of. So again, that's for me. It's either like something that's like crazy beautiful or will make me laugh.
Yeah,
See,
that's my thing.
You haven't answered your own question. I'll let you go before I say another reason. Or another thing I look for.
I fall similar to you, Austin. I'm absolutely like aesthetic first, and that's where I get stuck. Where it's like, oh, beautiful photography, you follow, and then like I'll go back and unfollow. There are things where it's like I
done
do
that
jump
before,
the
too.
gun.
Sure.
I will absolutely admit I'm very quick to follow if it's like beautiful imagery. But I also agree if it's like funny. Like I think when people make fun of Toyota 4Runners, I think that shit's very funny too.
Oh,
Like,
you got a little ladder.
Correct. Car jokes are funny. I like seeing dudes huff and puff, like like making East Coast hikers making fun of West Coast.
There's been a
That
lot of those
shit,
ones
to
going
me,
around.
I'm a cheap laugh.
Yeah,
that's okay.
for sure.
I recognize where I'm at.
What I don't like to follow is I think I'm not like a huge fan of social media. I use it and I like to follow a couple things, right? I like my sports. I like things to be funny. I like my beautiful outdoor pictures, right?
Totally.
I don't like to be influenced too. I don't like when people are just posting, oh, this is my life. I think it's cool. Look at how cool I am. I have a real problem with it, and I won't follow people like that.
Yeah.
But again, that's kind of why I wanted to talk about the subject, because I think there are people out there that are actually informative. They do live their true life on social media without having any kind of fake bullshit to it.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's what I look for on it. I think that we've had social media long enough that you can kind of like weed through the bullshit.
Yeah.
And you can
Yeah.
tell.
I'm
can
way
tell.
more reserved, I guess, than Alex than with the follow. Like
same.
it takes a lot.
Dude, same. I'll see the
Really?
same
Yeah.
fucking person so many times on my feed until I'm like, all right, I'm fine.
Exactly. And it's
Yeah, you
never
finally
I
got me.
giggled.
It's never off the first time I see from that account. It's got to be.
I won't follow, or I'll do a save. Like I'll save that one image or something
bookmark
like
it.
that.
I've done that
Bookmark
too,
it.
yeah.
So like I'll create a library of like inspiration or something like that on my Instagram page, or like on like a Pinterest thing or whatever, and like kind of create a inspiration vibe, mood chart or whatever you'd want to call it. But
Keep going.
yeah.
I was like, how else are you going to describe this?
Yeah.
Let's keep using words, dude.
But
Yeah.
the other thing that I really like to kind of look at and find are people that are giving reviews on things.
Yes, I was going to
Yeah.
And
talk
like
about
Real
that.
insights.
yeah.
real insight
I didn't even think
on-
about that when it came to the
on
subject.
people.
That's so funny.
On people that are doing the activity, whether it's backpacking or camera stuff or whatever it might be. I love people that have real world experience that give reviews on yes, this thing is great. I'm not sponsored. Or, hey, disclaimer, they sent this to me, but I don't have to say anything bad or good or bad about it. I can just give my honest opinion.
Like I used this pack.
Dan,
here's what I think.
I don't like it, or I do like it.
Dan Becker is really good at doing that.
Yeah.
I follow his
him.
YouTube channel. He's great at that. He delivers very good advice on things and on gear, and gives a good solid opinion. So if you're looking for someone that gives some like good factual stuff, that gets stuff sent to him and he can try a lot of things out, which is great. I would suggest his channel to go and look at and kind of sort through.
Especially if it's someone, which this is true for Dan, is like they're using the gear, using whatever the tool is in a way that a typical person or that you would be using it.
Right.
And it's like, so I'm not going to go take this pack to Everest and be like, oh, it sucks. You know, it's like, I'm going on a weekend warrior trip. And this is what I'm trying out.
It's relatable.
And I like it. And here's why. And like, and or a pad or whatever. And like, oh, it busted on me. And like it real world stuff that you as the viewer are probably going to go do, or could very easily go do if you wanted to. And then it becomes way more relatable and useful, you know.
I on the same like notion of that, I also like, and this for me is helpful with planning trips, I like when people share where they're at, and I get really inspired by that. So then if I see something that, oh, here's your, I feel like often there's top trails to do if you're in blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I think that I like saving that stuff, and then I either go research the trails or whatever, but I think it also just depends on the type. Is the content both beautiful, but can it be useful?
Yeah.
To some degree, right? And again, some of it is flash in the pan. It's just like pretty stuff. Like, and I'm okay with that too, because I find just inspiration in that. And that, again, both motivates me to want to get out, but also like, all right, I got to stay active. I want to keep doing this shit. So,
dude, speaking of like, you're talking about reviews and things like that. Whenever I'm like looking up a piece of gear, my favorite like YouTube gear reviews are when it's like one single camera shot.
Yeah.
Just a dude putting up a tripod.
Yeah.
It's 14 minutes long for 1 minute of content.
And it's got like, it's got like 4,000 views.
Yeah.
And like the dude's just like, this, because they actually went out and did the shit.
Right.
It's just no
Fucking
fancy
raw.
production.
Right. It's not
they
produced.
paid their own money.
Yeah, dude.
They're going to give you the raw and honest truth. I mean, that is honestly how I picked my pack from ULA.
Yeah.
Is because I remember, dude, this was years ago, and I remember this video so specifically. This guy's like talking about doing it through, the through hikes that he did with it, and he's just him stuffing stuff in it. Look at how good this packs. He's like, I love this part of it, and he's like kind of like being tough. He's a rough
like,
dude.
look, I can't put a
kind of
fucking
a
hole
rough
in it.
dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, this dude knows what he's
That's
talking
it.
about, man.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff.
I think the thing that for me when we talk about that is like that I love that side of the coin, but then, and I'll bring up a name, I kind of like the overproduced side of the coin as well. It's where it's in the middle where it gets kind of gray from like kind of weird. Because for example, and I know Brian, you're familiar with this dude, but like Craig Adams.
Oh yeah.
I think
He's fantastic.
I will also say this. Craig Adams is a minimalist,
Yes.
which I love his sentiment on a lot of that. His footage is always very, very, very like technical. It's very beautiful. It's not fussy. It's like usually on a tripod. It's typically shot with a bunch of frames so he can slow it down.
Right.
Like it is methodical the way that he shoots things. Even his like monotone voice when it's like, does Craig get excited about anything? He does. And it's like, man, like show me some emotion. But I also love like they're beautiful to have. It's just kind of like it's drone footage. It's this. And he also, I mean, he's very selective on the gear. He actually is the reason I bought these Terrebonne pants, or tried these. But he's just very methodical in what he does.
Yeah.
The footage is beautiful. He's thoughtful.
He goes all over the place too.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And they're calming videos to watch.
They're very chill.
The music in it is really chill. There's no like crazy, he's not talking throughout any of them for the majority of it.
He typically does like a recap at the end.
Yeah, at the end he'll do a recap.
And
which is
it's
great.
a good recap. He's just very aesthetically oriented. It's just cool. I dig it.
Yeah, if you want to get like a good vibe of what a trail might be,
His are so
like
good.
those are great
Yeah.
videos to watch. Like
So he
if you're-
does not only like areas, trails, and things like that.
I would say the majority of them are trails.
Oh,
trails.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
most
I-
of it's
He's
trail
done a
stuff.
few like what's in my pack kind of thing.
Yeah.
Those are great too. He actually did a Mount Everest base camp trek
He did,
video.
yeah.
That was fantastic too. But real world stuff that you can kind of see and really get a grasp on, like what would that trail be like.
Yeah.
And very, very cool.
Well, and I think it feeds in, like we were talking about the boom of outdoors and kind of the boom of outdoor social media at the same time, but it all feeds into itself, which is kind of cool. Is that anyone can bring a trail or a gear review or real world experiences on things that happen outside to anybody, to millions of people potentially, and then that's going to feed
it's
into
accessible for sure.
It's going to feed into those people going and doing things, and maybe some of those people that are now doing that thing are going to turn around and record some of it and churn it back out on. So it's this.
I mean, hey,
thing.
it's the exact reason why we have permits for some of these trails.
Yeah, yeah.
To some degree,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
I mean, it has certainly created mega popularity at some places to an unsustainable point, but yeah.
Which I guess carries some risk in and of itself, because it's like for the overproduced stuff or whatever, if it gets to the point where it's not that it's lying or whatever, but you can like portray something in a way that's not true, like then overblow something or whatever. Or maybe I don't think I've ever seen that with this type of content, like the outdoors or backpacking type of stuff. But to sell something for what it isn't,
I think too, and I think we talked about this a little bit with our winds discussion about when we did the Cirque. You can look at as many photos as you want.
right?
Some
It's
of the
never
shit.
going to compare
For sure.
And like, again, that's where I think we talked about it. Gosh, it was probably like one of the first 10 episodes we did. We talked about like VR and AR headsets and all that.
Oh, that was
like,
episode 8:42 minutes in.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
like, I mean, granted, you can.
42? So he said
He said
Episode 8.
42 minutes.
Oh, it's
yeah.
like
He was just so
842.
Now I'm gonna go look at some. Let's see which one that is.
It's probably us saying something dumb. But
Well, that's of
Yeah, I was
course.
gonna say.
yeah,
When isn't that
at
true?
any moment. But you just can't replace the real thing, and I think that's the part for me that like there are some days like where I just want to turn social media off entirely, because I look at it, I can be consumed by it, and it's frustrating, but I also find it inspiring and beautiful. But it's like, why am I living through someone else's? Now, I guess on the one side of the coin, you could argue, oh well, yeah, it'd be cool. Like if you're just looking at it and you're inspired by it, but you never do it. That's a different. Like that's a whole path in and of itself. But going out and actually doing it, actually allows you. The influence then is supporting going and doing those things. So it's kind of like
That's how I kind of treat it. I treat
a
it
weird
as
line
like
to toe.
a tool.
I like to
And-
think I tell myself that, but I know that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I guess how much of it is
eroding
like
my brain.
right? How much of
I
it
want
is
to delete it every single day.
I know. Like
how much of it is just living
insane.
vicariously through others, and how much of it is like you're taking it and it's like, oh, that's
Yeah.
could I be
that's
using my
useful to me.
time
That's
more
the
beneficially?
important intention with it, is that there's a lot of downside to social media. I mean, we don't have to get in this whole discussion, but there's if it's used the right way and moderately, and like I said, like there's so many people that we've talked about and that we follow that are inspiring and use it as motivation to go out and do stuff. That's the good stuff.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff. There's a lot of bad of it, but
Well,
there's
and
some good
and
stuff.
it brings a lot of community too, right? I mean, and
That-
that
yeah.
I think to me is what makes it special. And
Right.
yeah.
Speaking of which, I'd be remiss if I did not mention a really good follow, especially for those Ohio people. I just discovered them like a couple months ago, but there's a good couple called Hiking with Hikes. They're
Love those guys.
Ohio-based.
Right.
I've met them.
Yeah.
You met them, yeah. Brian
Yeah.
met them. They're
Yeah.
Ohio-based.
They're awesome.
Really good, like content for like great weekend trips that they do,
Yes.
and not only just some of the national parks, like within driving distance within our area in Ohio, but also like restaurants and stuff like that. So good follow.
Yeah,
Fantastic
it's
follow.
just good content.
Just good content.
It's
Like,
They
good
actually just started-
information. Good.
They just
photos.
started a podcast too.
Did they?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
I
look at
didn't
that.
I
know
listened to the first episode. It's nice.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, after you like and subscribe our podcast,
Go check theirs out,
Give
yeah.
them a like.
Maybe we'll have them on. We'll have a mega 6-person podcast.
Yeah.
No, that would be insane. That'd
That'd be awesome. What are you talking about? We'd
We
love
could
that.
do it.
It'd be fantastic.
Go to the park
do
or
it
something
outside.
like that. Yeah.
We do need
We'll
to do.
eat the
We do need some
worst
outside
campfire
time.
snack ever. We'll have s'mores.
God, no.
Do you agree with us? Do you guys hate s'mores as
Anyone
much as
else
we do?
all about s'mores?
Because I don't know. I'm curious. Maybe we'll do a poll or something
we need-
like
yeah, we
that.
gotta figure out
We
a way
need
to
to do a
squash
poll
this.
on
Yeah.
the s'mores. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I was just somewhere this last weekend and there was a fire and people busted out s'mores.
Yeah, and then you got your
It's
fingers
just- yeah,
all
it's
gross,
just
and you were like,
sticky.
"Yeah,
They're
well,
glued
that
together.
I said,
graham
I said-
cracker cracked in half, and half of it fell to the ground."
I'm
I
good,
said,
thank you.
You cannot.
No, thank you.
You cannot take a bite without
Without
the graham
wrecking
cracker just completely
Yeah,
falling
it's
apart.
trash.
It's just impossible.
It's trash.
ridiculous, man.
I don't understand.
They need to rethink the graham cracker. If someone,
Yeah.
maybe us, rethinks that, like I don't know, put some
Well,
white bread in
we're
a
gonna
munchie
talk-
pie.
We talked about this in
I
detail.
mentioned something about it when we were doing that campfire conversation episode. I can't remember what I came up with. I'm gonna have to re-listen to the podcast.
I talked about
I have
making-
some ideas.
I
I'm
talked about
excited
making
about
it into
this
an
now.
Uncrustable, basically.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah. I was gonna say some white bread, pudgy pie.
Oh, some white bread.
Well, I mean, there's a certain,
It is, yeah.
It's
It's got
gotta
a
get that
little-
little crunchy, like
No,
And it,
charred
do
to
it can seal on the
Do
ends
the
because it all
ends.
squishes together.
Yeah, dude.
Do the ends.
There you go. Add a little crust.
That's more
burnt
of like a
ends.
crust.
Yeah, you
How the
gotta
hell do
help
we
them
get
back
back
into
into this
The
conversation?
butt of the loaf.
There needs to be. We need to create a social account about why s'mores suck.
Yeah, I agree.
Just post every
We
day.
did.
Come
it's
at
this.
us.
It's this.
Don't
right?
at us.
This is.
All right, so greatest YouTube video of all time
Oh,
That's
all
a
your,
statement.
all your
Bold
base are
statement.
belong
is
to us.
it's one of my favorites. It has to do with nature. I highly recommend you look it up. It's called Nature Walks.
Oh, good God, yes. Isn't that neat?
I don't know this.
Yeah, you've seen
definitely
it.
seen it.
You've
We've
seen it.
watched it so many times. All right, this is the greatest YouTube video of all time. All right, so
Great
it's
call out.
his dude and his buddy, and they want to tell everybody about nature and how cool it is without him and Robbie just knowing
I
about it.
have seen this. You're right.
Isn't that
You're
neat?
right.
That's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
How do you know it? Because you know
That's the way it is. He's like,
That's the way it is.
oh, this is an aspen. You could tell that it is because of the way that it is.
Yeah, you're right.
That's pretty neat. How neat
That's
is that?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I can't even. You gotta
gotta
watch
go check
it
it out.
and know it. It's
I hope-
honestly one of my favorite. videos
I
of all
hope you
time.
can superimpose him on camera in between this segment. Oh, that's pretty neat.
Oh man, I hope I
It's
can.
very funny. It's
How neat is that? That's pretty neat.
very
It's
funny.
Gosh,
good.
I totally
watched
forgot
it
about that.
because we were doing some research for this episode, and I watched it with my daughter tonight, and she was just like staring at it. It's like,
She's like,
why
man,
is this funny?
wow, yeah, what?
I was like, you don't get it. You're
Dad,
five. You don't
Dad,
get
you're
it.
lame.
List.
You're lame, Dad.
So I think there's someone
You don't
that-
get awkward humor yet.
Yeah, not yet.
and it's funny. I didn't have these guys on my list when we came into this to this.
I know you're
episode.
talking about.
Do you know where I'm gonna go?
Yeah. AA.
Yeah.
What's this?
So I feel like for a long time, the Adventure Archives.
Yeah.
Okay.
They are
yeah.
YouTube guys.
Yep.
And I mean, I gotta shout these guys out. First off, they're from Ohio.
They
so
are. Yeah. I think
No,
some of- I think
guys,
some of-
love
I think
that.
some of them are. Are they? Are
One
they
guy's in
south?
Indianapolis, ironically enough, and I only know that because I live there.
Is another dude in
Columbus.
Columbus. Yeah.
But they are, and they have been. Their videos are not like overly produced. They're kind of grassrootsy, which I think is kind of
Which
cool
is
and
great.
fun.
Yeah.
The content is so f***ing good.
It's solid.
And they're like, the one guy is like really into foraging, so he's really
That's super
and he's
cool, too.
super mindful and educated on like the berries, the whole story, and then they just all kind of contribute really well.
Yeah.
We have to find a way to do a collab with them in some way, shape, or form.
Hit us up.
You
guys.
guys
awesome.
have talked about him so much over
Yeah.
the years, and I've never watched one video. I really need to go.
They're
and
good.
too. And
get
again,
down on
it's
it.
like
They've
it's
done
just-
a lot of trails that we have done.
They've done a
Yeah.
lot of trails.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of trails. And all the insights are really great. They don't typically they're not like mile warriors. They're out there to film the adventure,
Yeah.
have a good time. They do little reviews. And it's just really awesome. They're kind of like doing what we're doing. They're
Yeah.
just like good dudes who really want to be outside and tell really good stories. But I research if they've done it and we're about to do it. I've watched most of them at this
Yeah.
point because they're just good stories and they're cool.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Like
I
that.
knew you were gonna go there.
Damn, I'm glad. I didn't even think about
They
them.
were gonna be on my list. They were gonna be on my list.
Because I don't necessarily look at them as like influencers.
Same
on
thing with
social
hiking with
media.
hikers. Like they were on my list too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, that's a good point because the less influencer-y you can
It's
be,
authentic.
the more like of an influence you are.
Do you guys-
yeah.
me.
Do you guys-
But influencers in the wild, have you seen?
Yeah, I was just gonna mention
That's
that.
exactly where
Have
I was
you guys
going.
follow that at all?
I have, yes, I've seen
That
it.
is
I don't know if I
so
follow
good.
it. I
not
will.
It's
not
like-
outdoor related at all.
It's kind of
but
like
it's so funny.
Torons, but it's like people who catch people videoing
Like in front of
themselves.
the ring light
Oh
or
my
something.
God.
And a lot of
Yeah,
times it's like
so
in public,
funny.
like
We're
a
gonna-
chick like
that
on
we're
the
gonna be
beach,
on
like
that
shaking
one
her
day.
butt, and there's just
Yeah,
a dude
we will.
standing there like,
not to that level
Not to-
though.
no.
no, it's like
It's hilarious.
girl
Oh,
with
it's
a
not
ring
like
light in the middle of the
wild,
street.
in like the
it's
woods or
bad.
anything. It's
No,
like
no,
just
no.
out in public.
It's just in
No,
public.
yeah,
I
in the
see.
wild.
So
Okay,
it'll be
okay.
like you know when you're walking along,
Yeah, I know
like
what you're talking
You've
about.
seen people do this before.
right,
Just
you're
not
walking
filming
along a
it.
city street and there's like a restaurant that has like all windows,
Yeah.
and you can see your reflection in it. So there's one that just stands out to me where someone's sitting in the restaurant, and there's this girl on the sidewalk who has her tripod set up and the whole thing, and she can't see them because she just sees her reflection or
Right.
whatever, and they're just videoing. She's doing her whole
Dance
thing
in the
and
middle
everything, and they're just
thing.
watching, and it is priceless.
Have you ever?
That's
have
so
you guys
good.
heard? He's kind of like an internet phenomenon right now, and I don't really care for him. But like the Rizzler,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so the Rizzler's
The
like this guy, right?
Rizzler.
somebody got him like doing something in a
this
restaurant,
guy.
just sitting at a table by himself,
Eating
like videoing
Twizzlers?
himself, like being crazy and doing this Rizzler thing.
Yeah.
and somebody just like gets it and they put it on, the influencers in the wild because
yeah.
it's like. The sad reality of like videoing yourself like that.
Yeah.
Like obviously the content comes out differently, but it just looks
Right.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's not the
totally
that's not the
agree.
same guy as the guy who does the Who's Buying This. Have you seen
Who's
those?
buying
Who's
this?
buying
Yeah,
this? He
yeah.
always reminds me of you for some reason.
Really?
I don't know why.
Who's buying this?
He'll
I feel
find-
like I would
right.
have that argument.
He'll
so
find like
that's
the
pretty funny.
cotton candy flavored Doritos or whatever.
Yeah,
and he's like,
yeah.
who's buying
I
this?
think I've seen this. I think I've seen that. He tries. It's pretty good.
Austin
Shit's so
goes to the
funny.
grocery store. He goes and grabs the ketchup. Who's buying
Who's
this?
buying this?
Nerds
My daughter
gummy clusters. Who's buying this?
tonight at dinner, famously. Everybody knows I don't like ketchup. Ketchup sucks. It's for children. Sitting at dinner, daughter has ketchup on her plate. I don't. She's like, Daddy, you don't like ketchup, do you? I said, No, I'm not a child.
Oh my god!
Oh, okay, and that was it. Now she knows.
And that was that.
Wow.
You're gonna give her a complex around
Wow.
ketchup.
Yeah,
She's fine.
Yeah,
Good.
she's gonna turn 14 and she's
Austin's
gonna be like, I
raising
can't eat
ketchup
ketchup
haters.
now.
Eat ketchup.
Yep.
Jeez,
Jesus.
drawing up that long list of things to hate early.
You can have ketchup until you get a cell phone when you're 16. That's the rule.
16
All right.
is the cutoff age for your
Well,
ketchup.
we don't have
I was
to get
gonna
into
say.
this.
Wow.
For ketchup. Yes,
For ketchup, yeah. I mean, that's. I don't think you're a kid at 15.
I know.
And,
You know,
I don't know.
couple years buffer to
Let's hear all your
You know,
thoughts on
ease
ketchup.
yourself
I was gonna
out.
say, like and
Austin
add
has
a
very
comment.
strong opinions on ketchup.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what you guys think.
I have a lot of strong opinions about things that don't matter, but we don't have to get. I don't want to get into that right
We'll
now.
have an episode on Austin's strong opinions.
Yeah, maybe when we do like an Instagram live.
90% of them are food
questions.
related.
Yeah.
So
That is the best idea I've ever had. That would be so much fun.
So let's reel it back in
Yeah.
here for a few minutes. Does anyone? I have one more I could talk about. If anybody else have any others that
I'm
want to
out.
bring to your
I'm
attention?
in.
cash my
Go for
list.
it.
There's another dude that I follow called Darwin on the Trail. I don't know if you guys know. He's a through hiker. He's through hiked all the trails multiple
Darwin.
times. He's got
Darwin.
great reviews and stuff like that. He's a guy that will review a piece of gear that he's used on the trail for thousands of miles.
Wow.
That's
Now,
awesome.
So it's really like battle tested shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trail tested.
Now I watched a video of his today, and Darwin, I don't agree with you on this, and I don't think any of us are going to agree with you on this.
Oh, boy.
He did a video of like, I don't know if I can find it right now, but it's like products or pieces of gear that he hates. And there was like 5 things.
Oh, boy.
And 2 of the pieces of gear that he hates, we all use.
What?
Let's hear it.
One of them is Crocs.
Wrong.
What? Wrong. You're wrong, Darwin. Sorry.
Yeah.
What's his beef?
That he typically doesn't like wear camp shoes after. He'll take his socks off and then just put his feet in his shoes. He also wears trail runners. And then his other argument for like, well, people, he's like, they're bulky and heavy. You know, he doesn't want to do that either.
Wrong again, Darwin.
They're not heavy, but I understand
The bulk.
They're
They're
bulky.
They are
area.
bulky for sure.
But you can
not
also,
heavy.
they're indestructible, so hook them on to something, man.
But and then the other argument of like, well, people do water crossings and stuff like that with them. He's like, yeah, just wear your f***ing shoes. That's safer
so,
than
all
wearing
right,
the
talked
Crocs.
about that before, too,
I
yeah.
mean,
I
no,
agree
do you
with that
need-
reason.
Do you
Yeah.
need Crocs for water crossings? No.
No.
So we'll agree with that.
Yeah.
But like
letting the dogs breathe at camp.
taking
Yeah.
your socks off and putting your bare feet back in your boots. Are
No.
you out of your mind?
No, that's not a good
he's
argument.
That is
Absolutely
not the
He's
way.
a minimal
This is
hiker
not
too.
the
I would
way.
say. I would
That-
say the majority
yeah.
of the trails that he does are pretty ultralight.
Then that
too,
makes sense
but-
to have that argument.
Yeah.
I disagree with putting your shoes back on. I mean, he doesn't have wrong points, but like, it's one of those creature comforts that's near the top
Yeah.
of the list.
Right, exactly.
You
The
know?
Yeah. Well
other,
said.
the
Well
what's the other one?
is a creature comfort as well.
Nemo sleeping pad.
The Nemo tent.
Really? Dang. I was
So
afraid
what,
of
does he
that.
just not take any sleeping pad? Or
No,
does
he
takes
takes
like
like,
a
he usually does like the I think he used the Uberlight one time, which I've used and it popped on me. That's by Thermarest.
Thermarest.
Yeah.
I think I think he kind of likes a Thermarest pad because the 3 that he mentioned, I think in the video, were all Thermarest.
So he's sponsored.
I was
No,
just
he's
gonna
not.
say that.
I don't think
Cat is climbing hard on Nemo,
I
bro.
don't think
Come
he's
at us.
sponsored on that, but yeah, he's tried the trail one, the one that we have, and he's tried the all weather one, and he didn't like any of them. He said they're very
So-
uncomfortable.
I can
Well,
see.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's okay to be wrong
I
sometimes.
saw
I know.
something today, and maybe
And
it's this.
he goes. The one thing he said for almost every single one, he's like, "I'm gonna get so much hate mail about this."
The Crocs one, I guaranteed get a lot of hate.
Yeah.
I think the
I,
Nemo Tensor one he might get more hate on.
I saw something literally today, and I'm seeing this Darwin guy. It's on your screen. It's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't this guy, but I saw the thumbnail was they were holding up a inflatable
You've seen it
pad,
before.
whatever it was, and then in the other hand was a Z pad. You know, a Z light or whatever, waffle pad.
A close up.
And
Yeah.
it was, thank you, the above the pad, the inflatable pad, it was like amateur, and then above like the waffle pad was like professional
Yeah.
hiker. And like, don't get
Is
me
that
wrong,
the
if-
thumbnail, like clickbait? Like
yeah. And,
exactly.
and I know some of the arguments, and some of the arguments, quite frankly, I agree with.
Yeah.
But you talk about bulk with Crocs, man. Me, the bulk on a. I remember you carrying that. You know,
The
that
close
block
cell?
on your
Huge,
pad.
dude.
Yeah.
Accordion.
Yeah. Now, I will make the argument too for the pad, for that pad style. If I deflate, I'm done. I'm
You're
done,
man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally
no
done.
options.
I've been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But
You can go get some pine and you can like
Right.
fluff
I mean, you can bushcraft.
your
Yeah.
footprint
Like,
up a little bit.
you know.
listen, man, if that sucker goes out 10
You're not
p.m.
friends.
And we
1
talked-
p.m.,
so
I did for the when I
Did you?
sleeping on the floor.
Oh yeah.
Did you sleep?
I slept
No,
every
you did
30
poorly.
minutes and woke up. I slept poorly.
Yeah.
I won't. I mean, we've talked about the very existence of a sleeping pad, an inflatable pad, is a creature comfort in and of itself.
100%.
So I
Yes.
mean, like, if you're going ultralight or you really want to be minimal or whatever, I'm not gonna, rag on the idea of like, oh, but if he's still, I would say if you're comparing that against any other inflatable, you're wrong. Nemo Tensor's better. Like it's just
Great for side sleepers.
it's
It's a good
just
pad.
great.
It's a good pad.
yeah. I'm
agree.
into it.
I thought you were going to talk about Quadzilla.
Well, he's another guy that I follow that I really like.
I was gonna say,
I keep hearing this name, but I actually don't know who he is.
So Quadzilla.
He's got crazy
crazy quads.
right?
his name
Oh,
is
yeah.
Jack Jones.
I do know who he is.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
He's
Jack Johnson.
He's a thru hiker and has thru hiked all the trails in the U.S. again multiple times. He's even done the Triple Crown, which is the PCT, the CDT, and the AT
Baller.
in a single
Straight
calendar
baller.
year.
One
That's
year.
nuts.
Fucking nuts. The dude is
insane.
a legend for that. He does have some good content. I do follow him on Instagram.
I thought you were gonna say he does have some good quads.
He does have some
I
good
mean, he
quads.
does.
I mean,
It's
listen,
true.
you don't
Yeah.
get nicknamed
You don't get-
Quadzilla for not having quads.
Yeah, dude's quads
are.
are massive. He
Yeah.
he puts a watermelon in between his thighs. And,
You can squat a car, man.
I think he used to be a bodybuilder. I
Yeah,
think.
that explains.
sense.
That
Yeah.
explains.
But yeah, great dude. Really good content. I would definitely give.
Yeah,
his,
no,
his-
he's good
his thing a
stuff.
follow.
the last one I want to shout out because is kind of one of the other ones that's high on my list, and you and I have talked about this. I don't know if you'll know their name, but their channel is called Bound for Nowhere.
Oh, they're great too. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's Mac and Owen, another husband and wife, and they just have awesome videos. They're
Great
very
content.
kind of aesthetically kind of geared. They have cool rigs. They just built a new kind of car situation camper thing that's kind of monstrous and crazy.
Was it the truck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with like the hookup. It's
Yeah,
cool
dude,
shit.
it's
I mean,
wild.
it's like they have a lot of like people supporting it, which is great. But their
pretty,
stuff is cool.
They're pretty popular because I think REI backs them on some stuff too.
And I think the first video that I ever shared with you was that pack crafting
the
one,
pack
which
crafting.
is so compelling. And
still
and
into
like
the
you talk
idea.
about being inspired, that is like near the top for me. 'Cause
Yep.
it's just a good story, and it
Agreed.
makes me want to do it. They're super relatable, super friendly. They're quirky and funny. They're just a cool couple. Like you talk about, Cody and Victoria, and like
Yep.
wanting to get to know someone. Like they're cool as hell, and the stories are good. They definitely, I would say, in the last couple of maybe 2 years or so, maybe it's even faster. They've definitely got some backing because like some of their videos are certainly like this one's sponsored by blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And-
right. Good production value,
and,
all that kind of
and
stuff.
they kind of have it all there. But some of their earlier videos are a little more on that kind of like grassrooty vibe. But I don't know. This is cool videos.
Dope.
Beautiful.
I'll have to check
videos.
that out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Well,
I'm curious to see how many followers they've got.
Oh, they've exploded.
They've got 140 or 104,000 followers now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's maybe less than I would have thought.
Yes. Yeah. Less than I thought too.
But they're good. They're a good group.
yeah. Really, really good content.
Well, I know we opened with it, but I'd be interested to see. I know we would be interested to see what your favorite channels are out there on the socials,
Agree.
and on the
Yeah, who we
YouTubes,
missing?
on the interwebs.
Tag them.
Who we missing? Tag them. Or if you yourself are a social influencer or entrepreneur in that sense,
Hit us
send
up.
us stuff. We'll take a look because I see more stuff from channels that I've never heard of before, where it's just it sweeps by and it's really cool and maybe I never see it again.
Yeah.
But it's like there's just so many people out there doing cool stuff. So let us know what's going on.
Yeah. The email is trail3pod@gmail.com. Leave us a comment down below.
Say hello.
Yeah. Hit the notification again. Tell your friends. And we'll see you next time.
Tell 8 friends.
8 friends.
8 friends.
That's a great, good number. 8
Tell
friends.
8
Tell
friends.
8 friends about the podcast.
Yep.
Tell them to follow. Yeah. We'll see you next time.
How neat is that? That's pretty neat.
The Trail Theory Podcast is sponsored by Audimute and Audio Technica. Music by Dan Koch.